Hey, good morning. Just enjoying my first cup of coffee this morning, just getting up. I've had a couple of questions on how to get into RC flying. And honestly, it has never been easier to get into it. It has never been inexpensive as it is compared to 20, 25 years ago when I got into RC flying. So I'm going to make a whole video series, probably going to break it up into a couple of different segments. And for those of you that are interested, we're going to get you started and get you flying some RC planes. I am Greg. I'm from Three Flying Loons, so you're probably watching this on my YouTube channel right now. We'll try and reach out to TikTok and Facebook to share this series as well. I'd like to thank FMS because they have donated a Ranger, which is a beginner RC airplane. It is what they call an RTF, or ready to fly, so it has included the controller and the batteries, and you can get these online set up exactly the same way. I'm going to cover through safety. Safety is one of those things that we really need to take into consideration. Just like RC cars, RC boats, or any other hobby, there's always safety factors, so we will cover some safety things to be concerned with. It's always better if you can find a flying field and a buddy to help get you into the hobby, but we're going to assume that you don't have that, and I'm going to try and walk you through everything I can so that you are prepared for your first flight. We'll get you through the first couple flights, some things to practice, and where to go beyond that. A couple of items I'm going to cover real quick is there is two memberships you may want to consider. The first one is AMA, which is the Aeronautical Model Association. They are a national organization for RC modelers, not just airplanes. They're for helicopters, boats, several other things. They have a lot of information on there. If you have an AMA membership, it also provides additional insurance if you have a major issue, a crash or something else, and something else gets damaged besides just losing your airplane. There are local clubs. You may have one nearby, and I do recommend that you look and see if there are. And if you're not, there are regulations that you do have to abide by if you're going to an open field to fly an RC airplane. We'll dive into that at the very end of the video series. With that, the first thing we have to do is we have to put our airplane together. It's going to be pretty simple. As I said, FMS has provided me with a Ranger 1220. It is ready to fly. It has the batteries, it has the receiver, it has the airplane, everything in one box. So we're going to go ahead and start tearing into that. So let's get our plane built first. Okay, thank you to FMS. They sent us an RTF ready to fly Red Ranger, the 1220 millimeter. This is a great beginner's plane, includes everything we need. So we'll go ahead and open that box up, and the very first thing I want to do is get hold of those manuals. And I cannot stress enough, please review the manuals, especially the big book that I'm looking at now, and then look at the smaller ones. One of them is for the reflex system. That information is probably not going to be as prevalent for you. And then look through the controller manual as well. It'll get you familiar with what everything does, and then we're going to pull everything out of the box. And the first thing I recommend is you take the batteries and put them on charge. And now I'm going to go through the manual, separate the hardware, and assemble everything. It's pretty straightforward. There's nothing complicated. There are 2 Allen wrenches that are included in the parts bag, so it makes everything easy. You may need a small wrench because we will be taking the propeller off for safety, and then everything else should be pretty straightforward. Put the wings together separate. That's the last step in there, and they're pretty easy as well. Once everything's together, there's one thing that I really want to cover over the control, because this is a misconception. On airplanes, the controls are typically, in the US, we run mode 2. There's mode 1, 2, 3, and 4, but we're going to use mode 2, which is in this diagram here. And in this diagram, you'll notice on the right stick, you have aileron and elevator control, and on the left stick, you have rudder and throttle. So when you pull the stick towards you or pull back, that is airplane's going to go up, and if you push the elevator forward, that is going to be airplane goes down. This is typical in RC airplanes, so it's something to keep in mind. A lot of people assume that if you push up on the stick, the airplane should go up. Don't set your control that way. You probably are going to have some issues that way. Ailerons, obviously, slide right and left. On your rudder, it's the same thing, slide right and left, and then your throttle should be all the way down, or you slowly bring your throttle up or bring it back as you're flying. You can adjust that. This airplane typically flies great at about 50% or half throttle, so you should not have any issues. You do need to pull the throttle up to about 60 to 75% for takeoff, but you don't really need full throttle. Don't take off too slow though, but we'll get into that when we start to fly. Okay, so we took the propeller off because we're about to test the electronics. You always turn the controller on first, not the receiver. Always turn the controller on first and turn it off last. So when you're done, disconnect the battery, then turn off the controller. This will prevent the propeller from spooling up if there's no signal from the transmitter. So it's something to really keep in mind. A lot of people think that these little electric ones, that they can't hurt you. There's a lot of quick torque behind these brushless motors, and they will cut you very quickly with this prop. So that's why we've already taken the prop off. So what I want to do is I want to check my servos, and I'm actually going to intentionally reverse a couple of my channels. I'll explain that in a minute. And so we're going to connect the battery, and we're going to wait. We're going to look inside to make sure that we've got lights blinking or lights on. We do. We're not going to put the wing down with the pins just yet, because what we want to do is we want to go through these surfaces. We want to make sure everything's correct. I've connected the two connections to the wing servos. I'm going to tuck those in there, and I'm just going to sit the wing on top. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to check everything first. So what we're going to do is we're going to check our ailerons, which are on our wings. So we know they're connected, they move, that's good. We're going to check the elevator, so we know that's good. And then we're going to check, don't push the throttle up, but there's a rudder side to side here, and we're going to check that. And we see we've got rudder movement, so we're good. There is a switch on the ready to fly. It's a throttle hold, or basically a throttle cut. And right now it's on. So even if I give this plane throttle, it's not going to come on, which means it works good. If I turn it off, I can fire up the motor, and of course it's pre-programmed, and we're in essentially what is a safety feature, a safety mode of the reflex for beginners. So I'm going to turn that off. But if you notice when it's in safety, watch the elevator. It comes up a little bit, so there's some mixing in there. But we're going to turn that all off for right now. Actually, we're going to put that in that middle position. We see that these work. We see that that works. We know our throttle works. Let's turn our throttle lock back on, our throttle cut on, so that we don't have to worry about the motor coming up and catching our clothes or something else. I'm going to turn the plane around, and I'm going to show you something with the airplane surfaces. So you should be able to see all of this. What we're looking for is when the airplane, you've got roll, pitch, and yaw. Roll is side to side. Pitch is nose up, nose down. Yaw turns the plane on plane. So our roll is our ailerons, which are these. So we want to make sure they're correct. So if I push this stick this way, I want the plane to turn that way. So how we can tell that is, just imagine the air coming over the wing, and if I'm pushing it that way, the air comes over the wing, and it pushes this down. This is in the reverse, so this also complements. So that side tips down, this side will tip up. So right now, this is correct. If we're standing behind the plane, whichever way we push our ailerons, that side should go up. So that's right, right, left, left. Okay, so we know our ailerons are correct. They're going in the right direction. The next thing we're going to check is the elevator. So for this to do it, it's the same thing with the airflow, but it's over the tail. So if the air flows across here and these come up, it pushes the back of the plane down, which rises the front of the plane, which changes the angle that the airplane is in, and it'll make it go up. Conversely, if we push down on the stick, these come down, and it pushes the tail up, which pushes the nose down. So we're making sure that that's correct. If they weren't correct, then I would have something that looked like this, where if I pull up, it's going down. That's backwards. These are all reverse switches for each channel, and they should be marked in the manual. They're also marked here on the control. They're a little hard to see with some of the graphics, but we know that that's correct. Our rudder, so if we push this way, we want it to turn that way. And on this, the nose will also turn, and you can't see that from here. But this is backwards, so we know we need to reverse something. So I know it's this one right here. So now we're reversed. So now this tail should point, the surface should go in the direction that I'm pushing the stick. So we know that that's correct. So when the air comes across this, again, the same thing. If it is sticking out this way a little, it pushes the tail that way and causes it to yaw off in that direction. So we've checked all our surfaces. We know they're good. Now what we need to do is turn the plane around, and do not put the propeller on. But most of your electrics, there's some exceptions, but on this it's not an exception. On most of your planes, if you are looking at the plane, the propeller will spin counterclockwise. So the one thing that I'm going to check is I'm going to take my throttle lock off, and we'll watch very carefully to see which way it's going. And we can tell that it's actually going in the correct direction. We can put something on here for a little bit of a visual so we can see that it's going the right way. So we know that's correct. If for some reason this is backwards, there is 3 wires on brushless motors. Take 2 wires and switch them around. That's all you need to do. It's basically an AC motor, and the phase is backwards, which will make it spin the wrong way. But coming out of the box for your RTFs, you shouldn't run into that issue. When you start building your own, keep that in mind. You always hear guys say, just switch 2 wires. That's all you need to do. Once you have assembled the plane, followed all of the directions, one of the things that I highly recommend that you do is don't pull hard. We're not trying to tear anything apart, but I've got the horizontal stabilizer, and this is the elevator surface here. And I'm going to give it just a tug to make sure, yep, it's not coming off. This is not coming off. So it was correctly assembled. They forgot to glue something. I'm going to do the same thing with the rudder. I'm going to give it a little bit of a tug. Same thing here. I'm going to give my ailerons a tug just to make sure, because this is the first time that we're flying this plane. You want to make sure everything is assembled correctly. We're going to come over. We're going to give this other one a tug. Okay, so we're set up. We know everything's good. So we're going to prep this to take it out to the field. I have to charge the batteries. Okay, let's cover a couple of things real quick. So we've gone over a bunch of stuff. We've done the airplane assembly. We've followed the manual. We've read through the manual. And we've covered propeller safety. The order of operation for turning on your controller, always turn your controller on first and your plane second. when turning off. Always turn off the plane first and then turn off the controller. At this point, you can put your propeller back on. There's one thing you need to do is look on page 10. On the bottom of page 10 is something called CG. CG stands for center of gravity. This plane is already designed around the battery that's being used, so balancing your CG should be pretty easy. It took absolutely nothing for me to do, but read the bottom of page 10. Your CG is 50 centimeters back off of the leading edge. Just balance it. You just balance it on 2 fingertips to make sure that the plane balances forward and backwards. All of that should be taken care of. Take your batteries, make sure your batteries are charged up because we're going to head out to the field. And we've identified the control surfaces and how everything should go. So we're just about ready to move on to the next video. What's up next? Now we're going to take the wing back off. We're going to load the stuff up in our vehicle. We'll head out to the field. We're going to do some checks for the airplane. Before we even get ready to fly, we have to go through some of these checks again just to make sure that we're ready to fly. We'll go through those checks. I'll walk you through all of them, and then we'll walk through the first flight. So with that, that's the end of this video. Thank you guys for tuning in. The next video after this, we'll pick up at the field. We'll head out to the field. We'll prep. We'll explain what's coming up for the first flight, what to expect, and take a deep breath. First flight's going to be a little stressful. It's okay.